Hey guys, welcome to another episode of Andertons TV. I got Mike Duce from Lower Than Atlantis here today.
Hello.
I'm not entirely sure how we've pulled this one off. We normally get much more obscure guitar players on the channel than you.
Well, you offered me something for free, so I can know.
And that, ladies and gentlemen, is how it works. Well, look, it's all gone a bit crazy for you guys in the last 3 or 4 years, hasn't it?
Yeah, it's a weird one because it was looking. We signed to a major label in January 2012, I think it was. And it was just way too early. Like, we didn't know what we were doing. They didn't really know what to do with us. And then released an album through Island Records, and it went to like number 22 or something in the charts, which for us was like groundbreaking. Yeah. We were like, oh my god, we're in the charts, can't believe it. And they were like, whoa, what are we gonna do? Like, why have we signed this band? So it was kind of looking like the band was over after that. We just went away for a couple of years, and
seriously?
Yeah, we spent the money that they gave us on building our own recording studio, where we've done every album thereafter. So yeah, we kind of.
I'm going to come back to the sort of like the band and everything a little bit later on.
Yeah,
but I'd love to find out a little bit more about how you first got into the guitar. You know, was it something that you start doing it in your teens, or something your parents wanted you to do, or was it something you wanted to do?
I was in first year of secondary school, and my friend Chris O'Connor, Ginger Chris, he had a Yamaha Pacifica.
Yeah.
And he was having guitar lessons, and every time I was around his house, I'd play his guitar. So it just sort of went from there. Like, when neither of us could really play guitar, we were already in a band. Like, we had a name and everything. So yeah.
And what sort of era? What sort of time are we talking about this? Like,
well, we were listening
late noughties, mid noughties, rather.
I'm 29 now, and I would have been about 12.
Oh, okay. So you're going back to sort of early. Actually, my maths is so bad I can't even do this. Early noughties, round about the turn of the millennium.
Yeah, I guess so.
So who was you and Ginger Chris? Who did you want to be?
I wanted to be Tom DeLonge.
I so knew you were going to say that, as did probably every single 12-year-old at that point.
I think what it was about Blink's music and his guitar playing was that it was simple but good.
Yeah. Which,
when you're like an aspiring guitar player, when you're a kid, it's kind of like, I could maybe play some of this stuff, and once you figure out one little bit, it's really encouraging. Oh, I've done that, I can do more. But then I guess as you get older, you sort of realise that writing something that's simple and good is almost impossible, and it's very rare.
I think that was. I know when I started to learn to play guitar was in the 80s, and it was probably the hardest time, because every guitar player was a virtuoso guitar player. Steve Vai, Joe Satriani, Mark Knopfler, Gary Moore. There wasn't anybody that's just going, yeah, we can just do a 3-chord. And then I know Oasis were the first guys that came out for me to sort of just go, yeah, you can just do chords and you can be cool. And then I know Blink 182, the same sort of vibe, wasn't it? Just very, very simple but super catchy.
Yeah.
Although he's cool. Tom DeLonge is way better than. He's not a rubbish guitar player at all, is he?
There's so many things thinking about it now as well that I've kind of nicked from his style of guitar playing that are now almost like signature to my playing as well. Whenever he'd palm mute, it would always be kind of downstrokes, and
really
it would always
rapid.
be really, really fast. And that's me as well.
That's hard, that's hard to do, isn't it? Because I know naturally, if I'm trying to play fast, I will just do up and down strokes, and it
sounds a bit sloppy and messy.
If you hear a guy that's just a monster downstroke player, I'm thinking like a James Hetfield type thing, or Tom DeLonge, whatever. It's much tighter, isn't it?
Yeah, and also when you're making a record and if you're double tracking the guitars, like they're panned left and right, and it's tight downstrokes. It sounds great in my opinion, anyway.
So you and Ginger Chris in your first band.
Yeah. Never played a gig, by the way. We were still the best band
in your
the world.
minds, you probably.
Yeah, no drummer either. No one played drums, too noisy, and everyone was poor.
It's fair enough. Sounds like a great band. So he had a Pacifica. What did you just basically go back to your mum and dad and kind of go, look, can you? It's Christmas, or
I had a few like odds and sods guitars. Like I found a Jap Strat in a skip. That was like
nice.
The worst thing was
growing up in Watford, not the worst place in the world, obviously. Just Japanese Strats in skips and everything.
That's the thing. Dreams are made. Ben from my band has this ultimate dream that he'll find like a 70s Les Paul out the back of some old music shop or something, or he'll go to a car boot sale and someone will be like, oh, that old thing, yeah, give me 20 quid for it. He dreams about that. Anyway, there was this shop in Watford called Queen's Road Music Shop. It was on Queen's Road.
Yeah.
And Stan the man was the owner, and I took him. I think I had 30 quid or something. It was like birthday money when I was 12, and I took the Jap Strat, and it had no strings on it. So as far as I was concerned, it was broken.
Yeah.
So I took it in, Stan the man, and I said, can you fix my guitar for me? It's only got 2 strings on it. He was like, yeah, I can do that. I was like, I've only got like £30. Is that enough? And he was like, yeah, I can probably do it for 30 quid. So he took all my birthday money and put a pack of like £5 strings on it.
Stan the man. Is he still in business? Is that still going?
I don't know. Another thing as well. I used to live on that road with my mum, and there's the sign outside the shop. Well, I'll tell you as well, this geezer's got about 3 teeth in his head and they're all black. And there's a sign outside the shop and it's like piano keys. And every time I used to walk past, my mum used to go, you see that sign up there? I go, yeah. She'd go, that's about that man's teeth. And I'd look in the shop and he'd be like that out the window. I believed it as well until I was about 10.
Oh, top man. Do you know what? Music shops are, when the history of Andertons is, my dad and granddad opened it, and I think for probably the first 20 years of Andertons being open, we were probably a bit like
were you trying to sell like really obscure brands of guitar pedal that were made out of plastic to the point where if you stomped on them twice they would break, trying to sell them for like
I definitely
market
know
value?
Oh no, I definitely know, in some of the deals that used to put food on the table for my granddad and were buying broken guitars and fixing them and then selling them as new.
This guy still does
a long
that.
time ago. It's not anymore. But yeah, it's just that was back in the day. So when did you start to sort of think to yourself, at what age did you start thinking, hang on a second, I'm pretty good on this, or I'm getting better on this now, I feel like I'd like to take it a bit more seriously?
You see, my thing always was, I was never trying to be the best player in the world. I always wanted to write songs. I wanted to be in Blink, you know what I mean? Like my equivalent of Blink. So I was never concentrating on shredding and sweeping and stuff like that, while a lot of other people at my college were. I was like crafting, songwriting, whereas a lot of those people now are really accomplished shredders, but like, what is that at the end of the day? It's more about technique. It's like I always say about drummers that are amazing at double kick, like you give your nan a pair of double kick pedals and if she practiced enough, I'm sure she could be like but what good is that in the real world?
Whilst knitting at the same time, it's really fast.
So I just always wanted to be an accomplished songwriter as opposed to a player.
But even before, just the fact that you've gone to music college is obviously some light bulb moments happened in your head that's gone, I'd rather do this than go and work in a shop.
I mean, you say that music college, it was just like a normal local college in Watford, and they had music courses on there, and I'm not even really sure. Well, I had no GCSEs for one, so that's why I went to college. Yeah, but and then music was the obvious choice because I was into it.
I'm loving the fact that we're just going to basically make a sweeping statement about how academically inept most musicians are.
Don't worry about school because I don't have any GCSEs and I'm a famous rock star.
Yay! It is. It's like football and music. What to do basically when you're a bit thick but still want to make loads of money. It's like it's so you've done this the thing at Watford. Is that where you started to meet the guys from the band?
Yeah, I met Ben from the band, and Ben's brother Luke was originally in LTA when we started it, but they were in a band called A Boy Called Hero, kind of like I won't say pop punk because I'd hate it, but it was kind of it was like pop rock, I guess. They were in this band, and their guitar player moved to New York. This is when we were about 17, and I filled in for about 6 months, paying for my own trains to get to gigs and stuff. And then they sat me down and were like, we've been looking for a new guitar player for the band. And I was like, yeah, all right. And they were like, yeah, and we think we found one. I was like, go on then, who is it? And they were like, his name's Jay Tamplin Wilson. I was like, you've got to be kidding me! Like, this is some sort of joke. I didn't say that. I was like, oh yeah, all right, yeah, cool. So I knew him from that. And then when that band broke up, them two wanted to start another band.
And did you go, yeah, I've got this idea for a band and I've got the perfect two other guys to be in it, and you start to describe it and you just say two completely different names?
No, it wasn't like that.
So that kind of brings us a bit round to, I mean, that's got to be everybody's dream, isn't it? Sort of young, up-and-coming musician's dream. You know, go to music college, meet your future bandmates, sign the record deal, have the career. But you sort of said it all kind of went a bit wrong after that first record deal. So, I mean...
It's sort of always going wrong, to be honest, mate.
Fair enough. Is it just a car crash of a band, basically?
I think every band is. It's like anything in life. You only really ever talk about the positive things and like the great moments. You never really talk about all the crap behind the scenes, do you?
Well, I mean, there's got to be people watching this now that'll be, you know, an earlier point in their journey, hoping to you know, to make a career in it. So what, you know, what would you have done differently then if
Oh, nothing, man. Ifs and buts. I mean, I'm quite happy in my life now, and I think that we're at like a really good point as a band. And it's always, you know, like when you watch a cartoon and they go back in time and someone treads on a small plant and they come back and everyone's got donuts for heads. It's one of those ones. If I changed one thing in my past, there may be like a cascading effect.
I get that, but if you so let's say you don't want to change anything, but you meet, you know, like an 18-year-old version of yourself who's, you know, at music college with a couple of buddies and they form this band and it's all cool. And what would you? I mean, that's got to be a fairly common story, isn't it? That first kind of major decision that a band makes about signing to a label or to a management firm or something like that, and then going 5 years down the line, do you know what? If we just hadn't done that, we could have cut out a whole heap of crap.
Yeah, well, I feel like at that time, like a lot went wrong for us, but we learned so much from it. It's kind of, how do you know what you like until you know what you don't like? You know what I mean? It was sort of, we needed to make all those mistakes to get to where we are now. So I don't really regret anything. It wasn't, I mean, there's not really much need for a major label in this day and age unless you're like manufactured by them and they have a big part in it. We were already doing our own thing, and all that really happened was they signed us, took us on, took massive cuts from our live and merch, which were doing really well at the time, and didn't really contribute anything. They paid for us to record an album, but we would have paid for that ourselves, and the album didn't even turn out how we wanted because we sort of took a back seat thinking we've just signed to like one of the biggest major labels there is. Surely they know what they're doing. You know, we'll just sort of kind of, because we did everything before. Yeah. So we took a back seat. They were already in the back seat, and just nothing happened basically.
I mean, you'd like to think, wouldn't you, with the changes in social media and the way that in which it's possible now to achieve kind of the sort of levels of exposure that you would never have been able to achieve just as a, you know, like a gigging band 30 years ago or whatever, that, you know, not signing to a major label or even to a label at all is entirely possible and acceptable now.
The way things are going now, like with streaming platforms such as like Spotify is probably the main one. I mean, and everyone's got a laptop, you know what I mean? If you can just write your own songs, learn how to record them yourself, upload them to Spotify, that's it really. Well, you cut out the middleman.
And do you think you would, obviously again, if you went back 20 years or whatever, you know, you...
How old do you think I am?
No, I don't mean you personally went back 20 years. I just mean as in if we went back 20 years. Your expectations for income from album sales were pretty high, and you know, tours were probably lost leaders and merch was a bit of cream on top. But now it almost seems to me like it's actually releasing the music is the lost leader.
Yeah,
and it's all about the tours.
It's almost like the music is an afterthought. It's like the way I see pop music now is it's kind of the branding and what the person's wearing and who they're going out with, and then, you know, the music's like, oh, and they do music as well. It's because we're in a very much like celebrity-led culture, which I hate. But I mean, if anyone's looking to make money being a musician, then you're foolish. You know, go and be an investment banker. I would say you've got to really love it if you're going to have to do it for a career. Like, we've been in this band for 10 years, and I'd say only in the last couple of years have we, you know, we've all sort of bought houses and stuff like that. But it's been 10 years of serious hard graft. For years we were living in our LDV convoy van and having to nick sandwiches from service stations.
Allegedly.
All our other friends were like, you know, oh, I've just come out of uni. They're like, oh, I've just got this great job, and I'm like, oh, well, you know, me and Eddie were spooning on the floor of our van last night.
Memories, great memories. Cocktail. But so do you? Is that then? Do you think the one overriding attribute that any musician needs to have if they're going to make it is just this desire to succeed, to sacrifice quality of life. You're not quality of life, sorry, but sacrifice materialistic things and just go, it's all about the music. Do you think if you...
Yeah, I guess I feel like as well, doing all that kind of stuff, those toilet tours, driving to 10 hours to Glasgow and playing to 2 people and having to drive home and work like some terrible temp job and then go out and play somewhere else. I think doing that stuff and paying your dues makes you more appreciative of when good things happen, and it makes you more humble, and I don't know, because at the end of the day, like if you get to make music as your job, as your career, that to me, like I feel like the luckiest person in the world, and every now and then I just need to like remember that it's hilarious that someone somewhere for some reason is paying me to just, don't know, play guitar.
Look, you're obviously coming across as someone that's very grateful for what's happened and pretty humble about other people's perception of the band. I mean, it is a big band that's headlining big festivals with an enormous fan following. So I mean, as I said, you're living the dream for probably tens of thousands of millions of people out there. But I did sometimes wonder, your band, do you ever get kind of, because you're so it's a rock band, but it's a rock band that's had kind of sort of quite a lot of love from like the commercial poppy kind of media.
Yeah.
Do you ever kind of go, I'd much rather like be maybe like a bit more underground and a bit more...
Only recently have I felt like that. But it was, for me, it was more of a, I mean, I can sit in the van and play basements to like 200 people and be those 200 people's favourite band, or you could play to 5,000, 6,000 people a night and maybe half of them only know one song. Like, which would you rather do? You've got to think of it like that, and you've got to think of it as in, if I'm investing, because I've spent the entirety of my adult life in this band, and you've got to think, at some point a man's got to eat. I've got to have shoes on my feet, and I've got to have somewhere to live. So it's always, you've got to walk that tightrope of, I mean, obviously never compromise artistic integrity for financial gain or anything like that. But if you want to be a career musician, you definitely, it's very rare that you would be able to be a career musician and do exactly what you wanted to do the whole time.
I guess that was the point I think I was trying to make, which was, is there a part of you that sort of goes, what, I do need to be a bit, the next album, it's got to have a couple of songs.
It's always in the back of my mind, definitely.
And so Radio 1's big weekend are going to book us,
definitely.
And maybe I'll just make sure when I go out to the, to the newsagent, I don't get papped by a photographer wearing a really bad pair of trainers or whatever, because then I'll be, does that, are you just sort of thinking, oh no, I never signed up for any of this, I just...
No, definitely not, because I guess it comes with the, all that kind of stuff comes with the territory. I'd be lying if I said, it wasn't in my mind that when I'm writing a song, I'm thinking, is this chorus kind of catchy enough, or, I'd like to write lyrics about, or, if the lyric was something and I sat back and go, you know what, this is probably a bit much, or there's no need for me to be going, that far in. I do think about it all the time. I'd be lying if I say I didn't, but if I didn't do that stuff, we probably wouldn't be where we are now. You know what I mean? I'd probably be some bitter, jaded 29-year-old geezer working part-time in Sainsbury's playing pubs. I'd have my credibility, and you know what I mean? But then what is that at the end of the day? People always say about, not that I'm a fan, but people who say about One Direction, like, can I say the C word on here? Probably not.
We'll bleep it out, so say it, yeah.
They're like, One Direction, they're do you know what I mean? I'm thinking, those geezers have mansion houses and drive around in Ferraris and have millions of people adoring them, and like, who's the them or you know what I mean? You got to think of it like that.
I don't, do you know what, I mean, I know everyone's going to have their own opinion on that, but I do think to myself, there's no shame in success. It's like...
I feel like in the rock world though, there is. It's almost like, especially in the UK, I feel that everyone wants to get behind that new band, and it's great for them, they're kind of breaking through now, they're doing this, that and the other. As soon as they get there, it's like, they've sold out, they're crap. It's like you were the one wearing their shirt and buying their tickets.
Who do you think's that? Because I always think that the guys that have got the balance between being uber credible but still getting booked for all the Radio 1 mega stuff is Biffy.
Yeah.
You sort of sit there going, how do they do it It's like...
But then I feel like, or maybe for me, because that was like, that's a different batch of bands from a different era, you know, from slightly before. So maybe at the time, all the other bands that were around that were like the credible, cool bands probably thought the Biffy were sellouts, and they probably got a lot of stick for it.
Right.
But then where are those bands now, you know what I mean? And Biffy are still going.
Yeah.
It gets to a point where you hit the ceiling in this UK underground rock scene, and it's, you know, you can kind of do the same album over and over again and have that underground credibility, but people get bored and other bands come along. So you've got to kind of break through that ceiling. And I feel like we did that a couple of years ago, but I want to come back into the room and do something for me. I think we're definitely going to do something a little more, you know, risque. We've done the daytime radio and the telly thing and stuff, and now we want to...
I guess that's what that success gives you, doesn't it? Is a bit more freedom to sort of go, okay, look, we've got, you know, we like you say, we've got some income, we've sold some records, we've bought some houses, you know. It's just like, okay, we can afford for the next album to be a little bit more about, you know, what we want to do, and if it's accepted, great, and if it's not, then it's not the end of the world. I know from other people I've interviewed who said the same thing, you know, the first album is very much kind of sometimes creatively taken a little bit out of their hands. It's maybe ended up being a bit more poppy than they wanted it to be, but it's been hugely successful, and so they can't really resent that, you know. It's almost like, fine, it's
what it is.
Yeah. Well, look, let's talk about gear, as we are a gear show predominantly. After your, what do you think sort of shaped your sound? You know, who were the guitar players that when you were first, maybe not like first gear, but when you were first making some of those more informed decisions about what you were buying, who were you sort of going, that's the sound I want, and what sort of gear did it lead you to want to buy?
I've never been that, like I said, like I'm a songwriter as opposed to a guitar player, but I feel like the one thing that I've always been after is that kind of pingy Strat tone, but like really high gain, like a kind of American high gain kind of thing, like 606 tubes, that kind of thing.
Yeah,
that's what I like, but kind of tight as well, gated, like tight bottom end.
Okay, so I mean, I've seen you using lots of Fenders in the past. I can't remember. I'm just trying to think, what kind of backline were you using, you know, over the last 4 or 5 years?
I've been using, it changes all the time. I used to use a 5150 for my dirty, then I was using like a JCM 900 for quite a while, and then for my clean was always a Fender Twin, but I really like the 68 reissue, the silver face. I've used all different chorus pedals, but like MXR stereo chorus, obviously not in stereo in that on that amp, but yeah, my clean always has chorus.
So it always
kind of changes.
Always been like 1 amp for gain, 1 amp for clean.
No, it hasn't always been like that. I used Black Star Series 1 for a while, but the 6L6 one that they released, I used that, and I used mainly like the crunch channel on it, and then the clean, and I'd use the dirty for like a boost.
Yeah,
that was quite handy. I used that for quite a while, but my gear is just always changing.
Lots of pedals.
Chorus pedals mainly, and like phaser, and then stuff to kind of like those Digitech drop pedals I used for quite a while. To change the key of a guitar, playing like different.
Oh, so you weren't using them as an effect. You were literally just going, right, this next song is like
dropping it down
like a digital capo type.
Yeah,
thing.
pretty much.
Yeah. Oh, cool.
Which I now use Kemper, and I use that on the Kemper.
Yeah. So, what I mean, have you got like like a guitar or an amp, you know, if the house was burning down, that you would run in to try and rescue, or have you never really had that attachment to anyone?
You know what? Probably not, man.
That's cool.
No, I wouldn't. I guess I maybe
it's
like
much safer to
again.
not run into the burning house to rescue the guitar.
What are possessions at the end of the day? I value more like friendships and experiences and stuff.
Fair
That's enough. Just as of late I've turned into
deep,
some
man.
sort of hippie.
Yeah. Now, you were telling me just before the camera started rolling that recently you went to check out a new Laney amplifier, but the surprise package was that the guitar they gave you while you were trying the Laney was something pretty similar to this. And this really blew you away. So what was it about?
Yeah, definitely. I don't know what it was about. Like, with these shredder guitars, the action is always really low, and they always have like a really nice flat neck with that kind of satiny finish, which is just, I mean, not that I'm sweeping in the set or anything, but it just, I don't know, it's just nice to play. And then the pickup selection, you've got so many different sounds there, which I really enjoyed. that was it. It was that simple.
So we think what in the next set of live shows that you do, we'll see you with something much more like an RG.
Well, yeah, I just got one of these RG Prestige. It's not too dissimilar from this, and then I got the Steve Vai Gem 777, the pink one,
The 30th anniversary one.
Yeah, which is more like, it's more of a gearish, you know, I'm the singer of a rock band guitar, so I'll probably play that one live, I reckon. But I used to always hate the way that these shredder guitars look like you're in Gorgoroth or something when I'm in like essentially a pop rock band. But I love them now. I don't know why.
Did you go with the Floyd Rose on yours, or have you gone hardtail?
Yeah, no, I'm trying to incorporate it into some song, more in like a Wes Borland kind of way.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, some great bands there. Limp Bizkit.
Yeah, Riff Central.
Yeah, absolutely.
10 points to Riff Indoor.
And amp-wise, now, so you mentioned the K word, K for Kemper.
Yeah.
I think probably one of the most divisive products that we sell today. You know, there's this sort of army of people who are going, no, it's absolutely the future, and why does anybody buy amps anymore? And then there's other people going, no, it doesn't sound the same, and da da da. What was it that you, what was your experience with Kemper, and why has that made it into your live set?
We had Axifix for Kemper, which is a similar kind of thing for anyone that doesn't know. I couldn't get on with it at all. It just had like mud vein tone, like it was just like, it sounded digital to me. So I then just used it for like the effects. I didn't really use that many of them, so I got rid of it. And then it was Rory from Enter Shikari was just constantly going on about Kemper, like, you need to get one. I was thinking, is this guy like, I don't know, on commission for like selling them or something? But I played his, and then it kind of made sense for, we were doing a lot of international touring, so instead of having to get the companies that you work with to have the stuff there waiting for you, and sometimes it's not right and sometimes it's broken, etc., you just fly this tiny thing out. We like the idea of that, so we all got them, and they've been great for a while. But my only thing is that they sound amazing, but I just don't feel like it responds like an amp. It doesn't feel like I'm playing an amp. But I had a conversation with a couple of your guys when I got here, and apparently my profiles are crap. So maybe
you know what? It's just, I think it's, by all means, put some different profiles in it and everything like that. But I think different people have, human ears are just really different. People respond to different things. The point you made about, why is it that every single professional musician that I talk to just talks about the nightmare scenario of hiring gear whenever they physically have to tour around the world?
It is hard.
You would think if just hire companies didn't have just such shit broken gear everywhere.
Well, they charge extortionate amounts as well a lot of the time. It's crazy. It's like, I just want an amp for like 2 weeks, you know what I mean, or like a month. They charge you like 100 quid a day, or a couple of £100 a day.
I know.
This one amp. That's one. I know it doesn't sound like that much, but like,
it's as much as buying the amp is.
Yeah. Over the time period, you might as well just buy 5 of them and fly them.
Yeah. It is kind of crazy, and I can get that the Kemper is the. And there's a lot of guys who enjoy Axifix, and Line 6 Helix is doing pretty well. But it's just a crazy simple solution to get the same tone every night, and in a little bag.
Even for people playing at home, or people, because they cost however much stuff. They are quite expensive. They're like a couple of grand, and then the board is like a couple of £100. It's like 2,200 for the Kemper and the board. But then you've spent that, and with the profiles you can get, how much would it cost to buy every amp that you'd profiled on?
Hundreds of thousands.
You can't. Yeah. So, it's good for that too, I'd say.
I've got a couple of guys I know who do, they're always flying around the world, basically just demoing guitars, not like sort of, pro gig stuff. They just take their USB stick and they put on the rider just,
a Kemper.
I need a Kemper. So they don't even have the Kemper to take around. They just have the USB stick that you put in the Kemper.
You wouldn't even have to get a visa then. You just show up and they'll be like, what are you here for? I'll be like, for holiday. Just,
not that you've ever done that or anything like
family.
That, obviously. That's interesting. But you did mention it doesn't quite feel the same. Is that something you think? So you'll be like, when you're gigging and you go, do you know what? it's so much more convenient to use the Kemper. I'll just put up with the fact it doesn't quite feel the same. But if you're in the studio or something, do you still want to surround yourself with glowing bits of glass?
Yeah, we used Kemper on our last record, apart from one song. And I'm not sure. I was just thinking just then. I'm not sure whether it's because I know that it's digital that I'm not keen on it. Maybe if I didn't know, you know what I mean, I'd think it was great.
That's what happened to me. 100%. If I'm sitting in a room with a Kemper and an amp, I will tell you that I like the amp. Yeah. And then as soon as somebody goes, no, I'm not going to tell you which is which, you just got to hear it. I'm like, oh, don't ask me that because now I can't tell the difference.
I don't know. Yeah, it is weird.
So what's next then? You know, on this new phase of spandex-clad Ibanez wielding,
headband.
Yeah, putting the pop thing to one side, just going to go hardcore, all about the music. What's the next project then? Sounds cool to me.
Yeah, we've got a lot of touring coming up. So we go on tour in a couple of weeks with Enter Shikari around the UK and Europe, and then we come back. And I've just been writing at home for the last sort of couple of months since we got back off tour. So we'll be like writing up until Christmas, and then we just got the most ridiculous extensive touring schedule sent through like 3 or 4 days ago for the beginning of next year, and then I emailed our manager to be like, that's a bit hefty, isn't it? And he was like, yeah, there's also another thing being tacked on the front of it, so we're going to be on tour for quite a while, but I can't tell you what any of that is.
No, that's one of the 39 million things you can't tell me, isn't it?
It's it is.
But that's cool though. I mean, I don't know, it's so weird, isn't it? Because it's yet another one of those things where, you know, the touring musicians are just like, yeah, it's knackering, and you know, kind of looking forward to when it's finished and seeing family and everything. And like everyone who's not a professional musician, it's just like, I would give my right arm to do that.
It's so strange because when I'm at home, I get really depressed, like, because it sounds amazing to anyone that works like full time, which obviously I did before as well. But and it is great for maybe a week. But whenever all your friends are at work and there's just nothing to do, trying to fill up days is really hard, and your mind gets wandering. But so when I'm at home, I just want to be on tour. But when I'm on tour, I get exhausted, and I'm constantly worrying about losing my voice as well. Right. So I want to be at home when I'm on tour, and I want to be on tour when I'm at home. Can't please me, basically.
Actually, we should. I totally haven't asked you about the sort of the singing aspect. So before we kind of wind up, I mean, I cannot physically remember 2 words of a song if I've got to play chords at the same time. So I was never ever destined to be a singer guitar player. But has that always come quite naturally to you?
Well, I used to always kind of play an acoustic. Like I said, when I started playing guitar, I wanted to be a songwriter. So I was doing both at the same time. Sort of jack of all trades, master of puppets, if you will. I was never really good at either. Right. It's kind of like this is my skill bar, and it was divided between the two, so I was sort of running at half capacity on both, which I still kind of am, but that's, I don't know, I don't consider myself a singer. I'm a singer by default. Yeah. I mean, obviously I am a singer, but I'm a guitar player before I am a singer, and I'm a songwriter before I'm a guitar player.
Right, but yeah, you're so self-deprecating about it all. You know, it's like, as I'm
it's
sure
embarrassing,
everyone.
This is going to go on the internet and everyone's going to be like, that guy's.
No, but they're not at all. They're just going to go, yeah, he's a really good singer in front of a really good band and plays good guitar. But what's your routine then for kind of not losing your voice? Because I mean, that must be a nightmare, isn't it?
Yeah, it is, and it's something that's just a lot of the time is completely out of your control. I really struggle to sleep on a bus. I take like all different types of sleeping tablets. Well, I used to, but now I take kind of like herbal over-the-counter sleeping pills, like flying for one. I don't know what they put in the aircon, but I get off a plane, I'm like Pat Butcher or Frank Butcher, or whoever's got the haggard voice, that one. And then I think it must be the same one, like with bus air conditioning. I find it drives me out, and I can't sleep because it's moving. I'm quite a light sleeper as it is, and sleep is key. So I find myself sleeping in the back lounge on the bus during the day, like a lot of the time, like when the bus is stationary.
Do you have to eat certain, you've got to avoid certain foods? Or,
yeah, I don't eat dairy anyway. That's like the main one. They say.
I thought you were going to, yeah.
And then
is that like an allergy thing, or just because of your voice you don't eat dairy, or is that just a choice?
I just don't eat anything from any animal products.
So it's vegan.
Yeah, but Yeah, and then spicy food, which, I mean, would you want me to be like a priest or something? I got to have some sort of fun, you know, so I'd still eat like
just heroin.
Spicy food.
That's just,
yeah.
Everything else.
But you can't shoot up directly into your throat, because that's when things go pear-shaped.
Don't do heroin.
Yeah. So yeah, that's just it. Sleep and water are the main things. Like I don't really drink that. I don't really drink at all when I'm on tour. I might have a beer before, if I'm feeling nervous before we play or whatever. I might have maybe like a shot of whiskey or something. But yeah, alcohol obviously dehydrates you, and if you're dehydrated, your vocal cords are going to be dried out.
Oh, that's cool, man. Well, and I think I don't know whether this will go in this video or a separate thing for like just a Facebook leader for this video.
Another thing I will say,
please do, yeah,
about vocals. This is probably completely wrong for me, but I'm not sure if it's placebo, but it works. Is Melissa Cross, The Zen of Screaming, it's called.
Right.
It's like
what is that, a video or a book?
There's a DVD that comes with it, but I've never seen it. But I probably should, because it's how she explains how to do the exercises. But then it's like an audio. You kind of listen along, and she's like, "These are these. Make this sound like following these notes." And she plays the piano, and then you've got to like follow along. But that I find is really good.
Say that name again.
Melissa Cross, The Zen of Screaming. Check it out. It's meant to be for people that like scream and stuff. But I've got my voice is quite raspy at points, so I find that really helps me.
So, okay, I just want now the ultimate rock story. This is my one cliche question to you that you've probably been asked a million times, but I want the ultimate borderline, is it acceptable to put this on the internet story?
What you want is incriminating evidence, and I'm not willing to divulge any of that. The
one just below, the one that wouldn't get you arrested or banned from travelling to America ever again.
I'm not sure I want stuff like that on the internet, man. I've done a lot of haggard things, I'll be honest with you. We're all pretty chilled now. We're all approaching 30, so we're pretty chilled out. If people could see what it was like backstage or on a bus, they'd be sorely disappointed, I can assure you.
Smelly on the bus?
It's not smelly. We keep it really tidy. Yeah,
hygienic band, are you?
We are, yeah. We don't look like it, obviously, but what would be a haggard story? I grabbed hold of Dave Grohl once in Melbourne. We were at some bar, and Foo Fighters showed up. This is already on the internet somewhere. It's so cringe. I can't even believe I'm saying this. Basically, I was off my nut outside some bar in Melbourne, and this cab pulled up, and this geezer got out, and I was like, "Whoa, right, Dave Grohl." Anyway, it was Dave Grohl, and he came out. I was like, "I have to speak to him. Like, I'm such a massive Foo Fighters fan and Nirvana fan. Anyway, so Dave's like knocking about in the bar and stuff, and he goes outside, and I'm like, right, I'm going to speak to him. So anyway, I'm chatting to Dave Grohl, telling him how much I love him, which is embarrassing anyway, and he keeps like looking down when I'm talking to him, and I'm thinking, what is he looking at? So I'm chatting away for like 5 minutes. He's like, yeah, dude, get off of me. I was like, what? And he looked down, I was holding onto his arm with both hands while I was talking to him. I was like, oh my God. And then to salt the wound, to add insult to injury, like later on that night, because like the band, the crew was there, like our manager was there was so many people in this like tiny bar in Australia, and everyone knows what a big like Dave Grohl fan I am. So about 6 different people got Dave. They were like, oh, you have to meet my friend, he's such a big fan. He'd turn around and it'd be me there. I'd be like, what's going on? And it looked like I'd gone around and got everyone, please can you get Dave to talk to me? It was just, I woke up the next day, you know when you wake up with like the beer fear anyway, I woke up and I genuinely could have cried. I was just like, they said don't meet your heroes. I think that's more because they think the hero's going to be an to you, but I was the one. It was embarrassing.
Man, that is a cool story. And look, I massively appreciate you coming by and talking about life and stuff. If you've not listened to the band yet, go and have a listen. I'll put some links in the description below. Good luck with everything. It's been an absolute pleasure.
Or one of them.
Oh, it was a good one as well.
I did it.
So, yeah, anyway, thanks for watching, guys. Stay tuned. We'll see you next time on Andertons TV.
Dude, that riff tempo's the Riffendor, man.
Tempo's the Riffendor.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching the Andertons Guitar YouTube channel. If you're a drummer or a keyboard player or interested in music technology, you might find one of our other channels interesting, and I'll put details of those in the description below. If you want to find out more about the products we've just featured, please click here. If you'd like to buy a t-shirt like this, please click here. If you want to watch another video on our guitar channel, click down here. And to subscribe to our guitar channel, click here. Thanks again for watching, and we'll see you next time.